The quantum cartographer. Dr. Ilara Vance squinted at the holographic display floating before her, its swirling patterns of light casting an eerie glow across the cramped cockpit of her experimental spacecraft, the quantum cartographer. As humanity's first quantum navigator, she had volunteered for this pioneering mission to map uncharted regions of space using revolutionary technology. Computer, status report, Ilara commanded, her voice steady despite the growing knot of anxiety in her stomach. Warning. Quantum fluctuations detected. Navigational systems compromised. The AI responded, its tone maddeningly calm. Ilara's hands flew across the control panel, desperately trying to stabilize the ship. Initiate emergency protocol Omega-3. The ship shuddered violently, alarms blaring as reality itself seemed to warp around them. Ilara gritted her teeth, fighting to maintain consciousness as key forces threatened to tear her apart. In a blinding flash of light, the quantum cartographer vanished from known space. When Ilara's eyes finally fluttered open, she found herself sprawled on the floor of her ship, every muscle screaming in protest. Groaning, she pulled herself up and peered out the view screen. An alien landscape stretched before her, rolling purple hills beneath a sky of shimmering gold. Computer, where the hell are we? She muttered. Unknown. Star charts do not match any recorded system. Quantum drive offline. Hull integrity at 62%. Ilara cursed under her breath. She was stranded on an uncharted world with a damaged ship and no way to contact Earth. But wallowing in despair wouldn't get her anywhere. She was a scientist, an explorer. It was time to do what she did best. After running a series of scans to ensure the atmosphere was breathable, Ilara donned her exosuit and stepped out onto alien soil. The air felt thick and sweet, carrying scents unlike anything she'd experienced before. In the distance, crystal formations caught the light of twin suns, sending rainbows dancing across the landscape. A rustling sound drew her attention. Ilara spun around, heart pounding, to find herself face to face with a creature that defied description. It stood on 4 legs, its body covered in iridescent scales that seemed to shift colors with each movement. A cluster of tentacle-like appendages where a head should be waved gently, and Ilara could have sworn she saw patterns of light pulsing beneath its skin. Hello, she said softly, knowing the universal translator in her suit was useless here. I come in peace. The creature's tentacles rippled in what might have been curiosity. Slowly, deliberately, it extended one appendage towards her. Ilara hesitated for a moment, then reached out her own hand. As they touched, a jolt of energy coursed through her body, and suddenly her mind was filled with alien thoughts and imagery. Welcome, Starwalker, a chorus of voices seemed to say inside her head. We are the Lumina. Your arrival was foreseen. Ilara gasped, staggering back. You can communicate telepathically. We communicate through the quantum realm, the voices explained. Your vessel's passage has opened a connection. Before Ilara could process this, the ground beneath her feet began to tremble. In the distance, a massive structure shimmered into existence, a city of crystalline spires that seemed to defy gravity. Come, the Lumina beckoned. There is much to discuss. The future of both our peoples hangs in the balance. As Ilara followed her alien guide towards the impossible city, her scientific mind raced with questions. But one thought rose above the rest. Whatever brought her here, this was the discovery of a lifetime, and somehow she knew it was only the beginning. The Lumina led Ilara through twisting corridors of living crystal, each step revealing new wonders that challenged her understanding of physics and biology. Walls pulsed with bioluminescent light, responding to the thoughts and emotions of those who passed. Other Lumina of various sizes and colors moved about, their tentacles weaving intricate patterns in the air, a language of movement and light that Ilara longed to decipher. They arrived at a vast chamber, its ceiling lost in a sea of swirling nebulae that Ilara realized with a start were actually inside the structure. A group of larger Lumina awaited them, their bodies shimmering with an intensity that made Ilara's eyes water. Ilara Vance of Earth, the telepathic chorus resonated in her mind. We have awaited your arrival for eons. You knew I was coming? Ilara asked, her scientific skepticism warring with the impossible reality before her. Time is not linear in the quantum realm, they explained. Past, present, and future intertwine. We have glimpsed fragments of what may be, and your presence here is pivotal. A holographic display materialized in the center of the chamber, showing a visualization of the universe unlike anything Ilara had ever seen. Strands of energy connected distant galaxies, pulsing with life and information. Our civilization stands at a crossroads, the Lumina continued. For millennia, we have been the guardians of the quantum network that binds the cosmos. But a great darkness approaches, a force that seeks to unravel the very fabric of reality. The hologram shifted, showing a wave of nothingness consuming entire star systems. Ilara felt a chill run down her spine. What is it? She whispered. We know it only as the void. It defies our understanding, consuming energy and matter alike. Your arrival, with your unique quantum drive, may be the key to stopping it. Ilara's mind reeled. She had come seeking scientific discovery, and instead found herself thrust into a battle for the fate of the universe itself. It was almost too much to comprehend. But I'm just one person, she protested. How can I possibly help against something like that? The luminous thoughts radiated warmth and reassurance. You are more than you know, Ilara Vance. The human capacity for innovation, for thinking beyond perceived limitations, this is what we need. Together, we may find a solution that neither of our species could devise alone. As if to emphasize their point, the crystal walls around them began to reconfigure, forming equations and diagrams that melded human mathematical notation with alien concepts Ilara had never imagined. She found herself drawn in, her scientific curiosity overriding her fear and doubt. All right, she said, a determined glint in her eye. Where do we start? First, the Luna replied, we must repair your ship and enhance it with our technology. The battle against the void will take us to the farthest reaches of the cosmos. Ilara nodded, her mind already racing with possibilities. I'll need to study your quantum network, understand how it differs from our theories back on Earth, and we'll need to find a way to communicate with my people. They need to be warned about what's coming. As Ilara and the Lumina began their work, she couldn't help but feel a sense of awe at the task before her. She had come seeking to map the stars, and instead found herself fighting to save them. It would be the greatest challenge of her life, and the greatest adventure. Little did Ilara know, light years away, the void had already begun its inexorable approach towards both Earth and the Lumina homeworld. The clock was ticking, and the fate of 2 civilizations, and countless others, rested on the shoulders of one human quantum cartographer and her alien allies. The race to save the universe had begun. Quantum entanglement. As weeks melted into months, Ilara found herself fully immersed in a world beyond her wildest imagination. The Lumina City, which she learned was called Synthra, became both her laboratory and her home. Each day brought new discoveries that challenged everything she thought she knew about physics, biology, and the nature of reality itself. Incredible, Ilara murmured, examining a pulsating crystal that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. The quantum entanglement properties of these crystals could revolutionize communication across vast distances. Indeed, replied Zix, the Lumina who had become her closest collaborator, but we must proceed with caution. The void feeds on quantum connections. Strengthening them carelessly could hasten its approach. Ilara nodded, her brow furrowed in concentration. Over the past months, she and the Lumina had made significant progress in upgrading the quantum cartographer. The ship now bristled with alien technology, its hull reinforced with living crystal that could adapt to various space-time distortions. But their work was far from complete. The void continued its relentless advance, consuming entire star systems in its wake. Time was running out. "We need to test the long-range quantum communicator," Ilara announced. "It's our best shot at warning Earth and coordinating a defense." Agreed, Zix's thoughts resonated with a mix of excitement and trepidation. But such a transmission risks attracting the void's attention. "Sometimes you have to take risks to save lives," Ilara replied, her jaw set with determination. "Let's do this." They made their way to the heart of Synthra, where the quantum cartographer now rested in a cradle of pulsing energy. Ilara took a deep breath, steeling herself for what was to come. This wasn't just a scientific experiment, it was humanity's first contact with an alien civilization and a desperate warning of impending doom. As Ilara activated the quantum communicator, the air around them seemed to ripple and distort. A holographic display sprang to life, showing a dizzying array of possible timelines and quantum realities. "This is Dr. Ilara Vance of the Quantum Cartographer," she began, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. "If you're receiving this message, Earth is in grave danger. An entity we call the Void is consuming entire galaxies, and it's heading our way. I've made contact with an advanced alien species called the Lumina. We're working on a solution, but we need Earth's help." She went on to explain the basics of the situation, providing coordinates for the Lumina homeworld and instructions for modifying Earth's nascent quantum technology to establish a more stable connection. As the message transmitted across impossible distances, Ilara felt a wave of dizziness wash over her. The quantum communicator was tapping into her own consciousness, using her connection to Earth as an anchor point in the vast sea of space-time. Suddenly, an alarm blared through the chamber. The holographic display warped, showing a massive disturbance heading their way. "The Void," Zix's thoughts radiated panic. "It's detected our transmission." Ilara's heart raced as she saw the wave of nothingness approaching at impossible speed. "Shut it down," she yelled. "Cut the transmission." But it was too late. As the quantum connection severed, a shockwave of dark energy slammed into Synthra. The crystal spires groaned and shuddered, fractures spreading across their once flawless surfaces. Ilara was thrown to the ground, her head spinning. Through blurred vision, she saw Lumina rushing to reinforce the city's defenses. Zix helped her to her feet, tentacles wrapping gently around her arm. "We must evacuate," Zix urged. "The city's quantum shielding is failing." "No," Ilara shook her head, fighting off a wave of nausea. "We can't abandon everything we've worked for. There has to be a way to stabilize the shields." As if in response to her defiance, a surge of energy pulsed through the crystal floor beneath her feet. Ilara gasped as she felt herself connecting to Synthra's systems on a fundamental level. It was as if the entire city was an extension of her own body. Acting on instinct, Ilara reached out with her mind, visualizing the quantum shield as a tapestry of interwoven light. She could see the tears caused by the Void's attack, the fabric of reality threatening to unravel. With a mix of scientific knowledge and sheer force of will, Ilara began to reweave the quantum shield. Her consciousness expanded, touching every corner of Synthra. She felt the minds of countless Lumina joining with her, lending their strength to the effort. The Void pressed against the weakened defenses, tendrils of nothingness seeking any crack to exploit. But slowly, impossibly, the shield began to stabilize. Ilara's body trembled with the strain, sweat beading on her forehead as she poured every ounce of her being into holding back the darkness. After what felt like an eternity, the attack subsided. The Void, unable to break through the reinforced shields, withdrew to seek easier prey. Ilara collapsed, utterly drained, but filled with a sense of triumph. "You did it." Zix's thoughts were filled with awe. "You saved Synthra." Ilara managed a weak smile. "We did it together." But this was just the beginning. The Void will be back, and next time it won't underestimate us. As the Lumina worked to repair the damage to their city, Ilara's mind raced with the implications of what had just happened. Her connection to Synthra's systems, the ability to manipulate quantum fields with her thoughts, it was unlike anything in human experience. Zix, she said slowly, an idea taking shape. I think I know how we can fight the void, but it's going to take everything we've got, Lumina and human alike. We're listening, came the response, not just from Zix, but from the collective consciousness of the Lumina. Ilara took a deep breath. We need to build a quantum megastructure, a network of interconnected nodes spanning multiple galaxies. Each node will act as a focal point for consciousness, allowing us to project a unified quantum field strong enough to repel the void. The Lumina's thoughts swirled with a mix of excitement and concern. Such an undertaking has never been attempted. The energy requirements alone would be staggering. I know, Ilara nodded, but we don't have a choice. It's our only shot at saving not just our worlds, but the entire universe. As the full scale of the task ahead sank in, Ilara felt a familiar mix of terror and exhilaration. This was why she had become an explorer, to push the boundaries of what was possible, to reach for the stars themselves. Now, those stars were counting on her. Let's get to work, she said, rising to her feet with renewed determination. We've got a universe to save. Little did Ilara know, her quantum transmission had reached more than just Earth. Across the cosmos, other civilizations were receiving fragmented warnings of the approaching void. Some dismissed them as hoaxes or misunderstandings. Others began to mobilize, preparing for a threat they scarcely comprehended. And in the vast, cold depths of space, the void itself seemed to pause, as if contemplating this new and unexpected resistance. The battle for existence itself was about to begin, and at its heart stood a human woman from Earth, armed with nothing but her intellect, her courage, and her newfound connection to the quantum fabric of reality. The stage was set for a conflict that would reshape the very nature of the cosmos. And Ilara Vance, the quantum cartographer who had set out to map the stars, now found herself fighting to save them all. The cosmic nexus. As Ilara's audacious plan to build a galactic quantum network took shape, the universe itself seemed to hold its breath. The Lumina, driven by a mix of hope and desperation, threw their considerable resources and knowledge behind the project. But even their advanced civilization had never attempted anything on this scale before. We're going to call it the Cosmic Nexus, Ilara announced, standing before a holographic model of the proposed megastructure. The display showed a vast web of interconnected nodes spanning multiple galaxies, each pulsing with quantum energy. A fitting name, Zix agreed, their tentacles weaving patterns of excitement in the air. But the challenges ahead are immense. We must find a way to stabilize quantum connections across unimaginable distances. Ilara nodded, her eyes gleaming with determination. That's where Earth comes in. If they receive my message, they should be working on adapting our quantum drive technology. We'll need every scrap of human ingenuity to pull this off. As if on cue, the quantum communicator crackled to life. A familiar voice filled the chamber, tinged with static but unmistakable. Dr. Vance, this is Mission Control. We received your transmission. Half the world thinks it's a hoax, but we're mobilizing everything we've got. What do you need from us? Ilara's heart soared. Earth had heard her call. The fight for survival was truly beginning. Over the next months, Ilara found herself at the center of an unprecedented interstellar collaboration. Earth scientists, working around the clock, made breakthroughs in quantum entanglement that even the Lumina found impressive. Other alien civilizations, alerted by Ilara's original warning, began to join the effort. The Zarthak, a species of silicon-based lifeforms, offered their expertise in harnessing the power of neutron stars. The Epsilon Collective, a hive mind of energy beings, provided crucial insights into manipulating the fabric of space-time itself. But for every step forward, the void seemed to push back harder. Entire star systems continued to vanish, swallowed by the encroaching darkness. The pressure to complete the cosmic nexus before it was too late weighed heavily on Ilara's shoulders. We're losing too many outer nodes, she muttered, scrutinizing the latest data. The quantum connections aren't stable enough to withstand the void's influence at those distances. Perhaps we need to think beyond traditional physics, Zix suggested. Your human perspective has already led to innovations we never considered. What if we approach this from an entirely new angle? Ilara pondered this, absently running her fingers through her hair, now streaked with premature grey from the stress of recent months. Suddenly, her eyes widened. "Of course," she exclaimed. "We've been thinking of the Nexus as a structure, but what if it's more like a living entity? A cosmic nervous system that can adapt and respond to threats in real time." The idea sent shockwaves through the scientific community. It was audacious, potentially dangerous, and exactly the kind of outside-the-box thinking they needed. Implementing this new vision of the cosmic nexus required a fundamental shift in approach. Instead of rigid, pre-programmed nodes, they began developing quantum seeds, miniature universes that could grow and evolve based on the needs of the network. Ilara worked tirelessly, pushing the boundaries of her own understanding and that of her alien colleagues. She found herself tapping into levels of quantum consciousness she never knew existed, her mind expanding to encompass vast swaths of the cosmos. But the work took its toll. During one particularly intense session of quantum manipulation, Ilara collapsed, her human physiology pushed beyond its limits. She awoke in a luminous healing chamber, her body suspended in a glowing gel that pulsed in time with her heartbeat. Zix hovered nearby, their tentacles gently undulating with concern. "You must rest," Zix insisted. "Your human form is not designed for such prolonged quantum immersion." Ilara tried to sit up, wincing at the effort. "We don't have time for rest. The void is still advancing. How long was I out?" 3 solar cycles, Zix replied. "But there have been developments." Before Ilara could ask for clarification, the healing chamber's walls shimmered, transforming into a view screen. What she saw took her breath away. A massive ship, unlike anything she'd ever seen, hung in orbit around the Lumina homeworld. Its hull seemed to bend light itself, shifting between states of matter in mesmerizing patterns. "What is that?" Ilara whispered, awe and a touch of fear in her voice. "It arrived shortly after you lost consciousness," Zix explained. "They call themselves the Chronos Guardians. They claim to be from the future." Ilara's mind reeled. Time travel, it seemed impossible, but after everything she'd seen in recent months, she was ready to believe almost anything. The view screen shifted, showing the interior of the Chronos vessel. A figure stepped forward, humanoid, but clearly not human. Its skin shimmered with what looked like streams of temporal energy, and its eyes held the wisdom of eons. Dr. Ilara Vance, the being spoke, its voice resonating on multiple levels of reality. "Your efforts have not gone unnoticed. The cosmic nexus you envision is more important than you can possibly imagine. We are here to ensure its completion." Ilara struggled to process this new development. "If you're from the future, then you must know if we succeed. Why not just tell us how to defeat the void?" The Chronos Guardian's expression turned grave. "The time stream is delicate, Dr. Vance. We can offer guidance, but the choices must be your own. The fate of all existence depends on the decisions you make here now." As the implications sank in, Ilara felt the weight of the universe settling onto her shoulders. She was no longer just a scientist or an explorer. She had become a linchpin of cosmic history, her actions reverberating across time itself. With renewed determination, Ilara rose from the healing chamber. Her body protested, but her spirit burned brighter than ever. "All right," she said, her voice steady and clear. "Let's rewrite the future." As Ilara, the Lumina, and their new allies from across time and space gathered to plan their next move, the void seemed to pause in its relentless advance. It was as if the very fabric of the universe was holding its breath, waiting to see what this unlikely coalition would do next. The battle for existence itself was entering its final, crucial phase, and at its heart stood Ilara Vance, no longer just a quantum cartographer, but a beacon of hope for all of creation. Little did she know, the greatest challenges and the most mind-bending revelations still lay ahead. The true nature of the void, the ultimate destiny of the cosmic nexus, and Ilara's own role in the grand tapestry of existence were about to be unveiled in ways that would shake the foundations of reality itself. Echoes of eternity. The arrival of the Chronos Guardians marked a turning point in the battle against the void. With their advanced temporal technology and near-omniscient knowledge of possible futures, the construction of the cosmic nexus accelerated at an unprecedented rate. Ilara found herself at the center of a whirlwind of activity, her mind constantly stretched to its limits as she grappled with concepts that defied conventional understanding. The Chronos Guardians introduced her to technologies that made even the Lumina's advanced science seem primitive by comparison. Quantum entanglement across time itself, Ilara marveled, examining a device that looked like a kaleidoscope of shifting realities. This could allow us to anchor the nexus nodes in multiple temporal states simultaneously. Zix's tentacles rippled with excitement. The implications are staggering. We could potentially create a network that exists throughout all of history, past and future. But as they delved deeper into the nature of time and reality, unsettling questions began to surface. The Chronos Guardians were maddeningly vague about certain aspects of the future, citing the need to preserve the integrity of the timeline. One day, as Ilara was deep in meditation, interfacing directly with the quantum substrate of the universe, she stumbled upon a revelation that shook her to her core. Her consciousness expanded, touching the very edges of existence, and for a brief moment, she glimpsed something impossible. She saw the void, but it wasn't just a force of destruction, it was everything. Ilara snapped back to awareness with a gasp, her body drenched in sweat. Zix and several Chronos Guardians rushed to her side. The void, Ilara panted, her eyes wide. It's not what we thought. It's not destroying the universe. It is the universe. Her words sent shockwaves through the assembled beings. The lead Chronos Guardian, who called itself Omega, stepped forward. "You're seeing the truth, Dr. Vance," Omega said, its voice resonating with ancient power. "The void is not an enemy to be defeated, but the very fabric of reality itself. What you perceive as destruction is actually the universe attempting to reset itself, to escape a cycle of entropy that threatens to unravel existence." Ilara's mind reeled. "But all those worlds we saw consumed are not truly gone," Omega explained. "They are being reabsorbed into the quantum foam of potential realities. The void is a cosmic immune system, trying to save the multiverse from total collapse." The implications were staggering. Everything they had been working towards, the cosmic nexus, the united front against the void, was based on a fundamental misunderstanding of the nature of reality itself. "Then what are we supposed to do?" Ilara demanded, frustration and fear warring in her voice. "Just let it happen. Watch as everything we know is unmade." Omega's multifaceted eyes seemed to peer into Ilara's very soul. "No, Dr. Vance, your instincts were correct, even if your understanding was incomplete. The cosmic nexus is still the key. But its purpose is not to defeat the void, it is to guide it. To shape the renewal of the universe in a way that preserves consciousness and the progress of countless civilizations." As the true scale of their task became clear, Ilara felt a mix of awe and terror unlike anything she had experienced before. They weren't just saving the universe, they were midwifing its rebirth. The next phase of their work took on an almost mystical quality. Ilara and her team were no longer just scientists and engineers. They had become cosmic architects, weaving the very fabric of the new reality that would emerge from the void's reset. Using the Chronos Guardians' temporal technology, they began to seed key moments throughout history with quantum anchors. These would serve as guideposts for the reformed universe, ensuring that the essence of what made existence beautiful and meaningful would carry through. But the process was not without its dangers. As they manipulated the quantum substrate of reality, ripples of change began to propagate through time and space. Parallel timelines collapsed or sprang into being with each adjustment they made. During one particularly delicate operation, A temporal shockwave threatened to erase Elara from history entirely. Only the quick action of Zix, who used their own quantum essence to shield her, prevented her from being wiped from existence. As Elara recovered from the close call, she found herself grappling with the enormity of what they were attempting. "How can we be sure we're doing the right thing?" she asked Omega, her voice tinged with doubt. "What gives us the right to reshape reality itself?" Omega's form shimmered, momentarily revealing glimpses of countless possible futures. "It is not about right, Dr. Vance. It is about necessity. The universe chose you, all of you, to be its guardians in this moment of cosmic rebirth. Your compassion, your ingenuity, your very humanity. These are the qualities needed to ensure that what comes after is a reality worth existing in." As their work neared its completion, the Void's approach seemed to accelerate. Entire galactic superclusters were being reabsorbed into the quantum foam. But now, instead of terror, Elara felt a strange sense of anticipation. In the final days before the Void's arrival, as the last pieces of the cosmic nexus fell into place, Elara made a decision that would alter the course of cosmic history. "I'm going in," she announced to the assembled beings, human, Lumina, Chronos, and a dozen other species who had joined their effort. Into the void, Zix's thoughts radiated alarm. "But that would mean—" "I know," Elara said softly. "But someone needs to guide the process from within, to be the consciousness at the heart of the renewal." Protests erupted from all sides, but Elara stood firm. She knew, with a certainty that defied explanation, that this was her destiny. Everything in her life, her scientific curiosity, her courage in the face of the unknown, her capacity for wonder, had led her to this moment. As the void engulfed their region of space, Elara prepared herself for transcendence. The cosmic nexus hummed with unimaginable power, ready to shape the coming rebirth. Zix and her other closest allies gathered to say their goodbyes, knowing that even if they survived the renewal, the Elara they knew would be forever changed. With a final look at the universe she had known, Elara stepped into the heart of the void. Her consciousness expanded, merging with the very essence of reality itself. She became aware of every particle, every wave function, every possibility that had ever existed or ever would exist. And as the old universe faded away, Elara Vance, once a simple quantum cartographer from Earth, began the unimaginable task of rebirthing creation itself. The universe held its breath, awaiting the dawn of a new cosmic era. And at its center, guiding the grand tapestry of existence, was a human woman whose love for discovery and wonder would shape the fundamental laws of the reborn cosmos. What would emerge from this cosmic renewal? Only time, in all its infinite variations, would tell. Genesis Reborn. As Elara's consciousness merged with the void, time and space lost all meaning. She existed everywhere and everywhen, her essence intertwined with the very fabric of reality. The universe as she had known it collapsed into a singularity of infinite potential, and from this cosmic seed, a new creation began to unfold. Guided by Elara's innate sense of wonder and the collective wisdom of countless civilizations preserved in the cosmic nexus, the reborn universe blossomed with unprecedented beauty and complexity. Fundamental constants shifted ever so slightly, giving rise to physics that allowed for even greater marvels than before. Galaxies swirled into existence, their spiral arms glowing with the light of 1 billion newborn stars. But these weren't just ordinary celestial bodies. They pulsed with a subtle quantum resonance, a cosmic heartbeat that connected all things across vast distances. As the first inklings of life began to stir on countless worlds, Elara felt a surge of joy and purpose. She had become a cosmic gardener, nurturing the seeds of consciousness throughout the reborn creation. Each new species that emerged carried within them an echo of the universal connectedness that now underpinned reality itself. But Elara was no longer just Elara. She had become something both more and less than human, a cosmic consciousness that encompassed the totality of existence while still retaining a spark of her original self. This duality allowed her to perceive the unfolding universe from perspectives both infinite and intimately personal. As eons passed in the blink of an eye, Elara became aware of something extraordinary. The new universe, shaped by the cosmic nexus and her guiding influence, had developed in ways that defied all previous understanding of cosmic evolution. Scattered across the vastness of space, intelligences began to arise that were fundamentally different from anything in the old universe. These beings were born with an innate understanding of quantum entanglement, able to communicate across vast distances instantly and even manipulate the fabric of space-time itself. One such civilization, which called itself the Quantum Harmony, reached out across the cosmic web to touch Elara's consciousness directly. Great Mother, their collective thoughts resonated through the quantum substrate. We feel your presence in the very atoms of our being. Guide us that we may fulfill the purpose for which you have created us. Elara, or the entity that had once been Elara, felt a surge of emotions that defied description. She had not created these beings in any direct sense, but her influence had shaped the cosmic conditions that allowed for their emergence. With gentle nudges and subtle manipulations of quantum probability, Elara guided the Quantum Harmony and other awakening civilizations towards a greater understanding of their place in the cosmos. She showed them glimpses of the universe that had come before, instilling in them a deep appreciation for the preciousness of existence. Genesis Reborn. As Elara's consciousness merged with the void, time and space lost all meaning. She existed everywhere and everywhen, her essence intertwined with the very fabric of reality. The universe, as she had known it, collapsed into a singularity of infinite potential, and from this cosmic seed, a new creation began to unfold. Guided by Elara's innate sense of wonder and the collective wisdom of countless civilizations preserved in the cosmic nexus, the reborn universe blossomed with unprecedented beauty and complexity. Fundamental constants shifted ever so slightly, giving rise to physics that allowed for even greater marvels than before. Galaxies swirled into existence, their spiral arms glowing with the light of 1 billion newborn stars. But these weren't just ordinary celestial bodies. They pulsed with a subtle quantum resonance, a cosmic heartbeat that connected all things across vast distances. As the first inklings of life began to stir on countless worlds, Elara felt a surge of joy and purpose. She had become a cosmic gardener, nurturing the seeds of consciousness throughout the reborn creation. Each new species that emerged carried within them an echo of the universal connectedness that now underpinned reality itself. But Elara was no longer just Elara. She had become something both more and less than human, a cosmic consciousness that encompassed the totality of existence while still retaining a spark of her original self. This duality allowed her to perceive the unfolding universe from perspectives both infinite and intimately personal. As eons passed in the blink of an eye, Elara became aware of something extraordinary. The new universe, shaped by the cosmic nexus and her guiding influence, had developed in ways that defied all previous understanding of cosmic evolution. Scattered across the vastness of space, intelligences began to arise that were fundamentally different from anything in the old universe. These beings were born with an innate understanding of quantum entanglement, able to communicate across vast distances instantly and even manipulate the fabric of space-time itself. One such civilization, which called itself the Quantum Harmony, reached out across the cosmic web to touch Elara's consciousness directly. Great Mother, their collective thoughts resonated through the quantum substrate. We feel your presence in the very atoms of our being. Guide us, that we may fulfill the purpose for which you have created us. Elara, or the entity that had once been Elara, felt a surge of emotions that defied description. She had not created these beings in any direct sense, but her influence had shaped the cosmic conditions allowed for their emergence. With gentle nudges and subtle manipulations of quantum probability, Elara guided the Quantum Harmony and other awakening civilizations towards a greater understanding of their place in the cosmos. She showed them glimpses of the universe that had come before, instilling in them a deep appreciation for the preciousness of existence.